you can't do it at this phase of your life in your 40s, then what
Yeah.
is the point of working so hard in your 20s and 30s and building all of this? You get to
Got like connected to my hormones and really like get help is when my whole like mindset changed. And now I'm like, wow, you almost have like a rebirth.
said, Mom, you look really, really sad. You've looked sad for so many days. What is going on? Can I help you? And that was
At
the
8.
moment where I was like, this is my child that I am supposed to be mothering.
Welcome to another Million Miles, your personal lifestyle concierge with credibility. I'm Danielle Kiesling, and in each episode, I connect you with unparalleled access to authentic, credible voices from across the entire world of beauty, wellness, fashion, travel, and mindset. All right, friends, we're back again for another episode of Another Million Miles, where we explore the art of intentional living through conversations that elevate the way that we think and walk through life, how we lead, how we heal, and how we live. Today's episode is one so many women are going to feel really close to and probably deeply appreciate. So my guest today, Nandita Mahadevan, came to the United States at just 21 years old with nothing but ambition and drive to build a really meaningful life. Over those 25 years, she did what so many highly achieving women are taught to do. She checked every single box. She built the career, earned the C-suite title, and created the life that looked successful from the outside and kept pushing forward. But when midlife arrived, as some of us know in our 40s, everything began to shift. So perimenopause entered not just as a gentle transition, but for her as a storm. So here we have an incredible, insightful, powerful woman to kind of talk to us about, first of all, you've created something called Soul Women. You have gone through perimenopause, are continuing to go through it, having these conversations about, helping women really navigate this transition in our life. And then you're doing it with like ease. You've been super successful, and just thank you for coming and speaking to my audience. I know that there's going to be many people that are going to get a lot of information out of this one today.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. I am so deeply passionate about this, and every opportunity I get to speak about it and educate, I'm here for it.
I just want to start with like, wow, I want to talk about your realness. Like, you're just like, I want to help women through my story, help women understand the transition of life, hormones. We could dive deep. I could talk about this all day long. When I got my hormones like balanced, it was like a game changer. But give me your story and a summary.
Yeah, I am about 6 years into perimenopause. So I was a C-suite executive, climbed the corporate ladder, built several companies, scaled them on the hamster wheel, running 100 miles an hour, had kids, raising them, really doing everything I felt defined success. And it was beautiful. And then I got closer to my 40s and everything came tumbling down. My health took a nosedive. My marriage took a nosedive. My family kind of fell apart. And I can tell you that this story of mine is not unique to me. The more women I talk to, the more I'm learning that so many of us are walking this path, but we're walking it silently with a lot of shame and guilt. And that's why I want to talk about it, because it gives others permission to recognize that they're not in this space alone and they get to speak up, and there's help. There's a healthy, incredible way of getting to the other side. And everybody feels like, oh my God, perimenopause is the beginning of the end. It's a decline. We've lived the best years of our lives, and now this is just downward from here on out, which is so ridiculous. We've gained all this wisdom. We've learned all of these things. And now our health gets to walk that, that incline with us. Yes, perimenopause shifts our hormones. And if you have the right
Yeah,
tools, if you use them well,
totally.
your health can work with you alongside that ambition. And it can really be the most powerful second half of your life. It can be the most liberating, free second half of your life. And that's what we were talking about is, yes, your hormones getting balanced allows your body to heal and really thrive. but the mindset, the boundaries that you get to set with this phase of your life, recognizing that you are stepping into your power is incredible. It is so fucking amazing.
Before the podcast, we discovered that we were about this exactly the same age, and we're both Leos, and we're both like we've both been going through the same basically journey. And I can vouch for supporting what you just said is like I feel like I'm at the best part of my life. I mean, like, yeah, it was a little bit of a rocky road once you're like finally like your body goes into perimenopause and you're like, what the hell is happening? You get a grip on it, and once you're educated about it, and once you start listening to your body is what I was like, wow, life doesn't have to be as difficult as I'm making it. Like I started sleeping more. I would just start listening
Yep.
to my body. So like I had some work to do with my hormones, but like I changed my whole mindset. And that I think is what is so powerful when you have the tools. So I want to talk about like you have this entire platform website that is called
Yeah.
Soul Women,
Soulwomen.
correct? Soulwomen.com. So give me what that is. And, you know, obviously you're an incredible supporter of like talking about your story and making sure, because you are absolutely right. The more people I talk to, the more people I invite on these podcasts, the more people I open up and I'm like vulnerable about like what I do and how I do it, the more you're just like, wow, everybody is feeling like, especially at this age, we're all like about doing the same thing, feeling the same feelings, going through the same stuff.
If you think about it, there are certain phases in a woman's life, with whether it's puberty or childbirth and postpartum or perimenopause, menopause. All these three phases have crazy hormone fluctuations. And there's a big identity shift that happens at each of those three phases, which is so beautiful. You know, a young girl becoming a woman becoming a mother for the first time. And now, as we transition into perimenopause, the wisdom and what does that mean for the second half of our lives? It's so beautiful, but there's not enough education and not enough information out there about this second half. And so even the traditional medical model, doctors in medical school get about 6 hours of education on perimenopause and menopause, and women spend over 50% of our lives in this phase. So when you go to your doctor and your doctor says, "Oh, everything is fine," they're not trying to gaslight you. They really don't know any different. So what do you do?
You make a really, really You make a really, really good point because I did that. I have been going to the same OBGYN for I think that last decade. And when I was starting to go through perimenopause and they test your hormone, if you fit into the vast range of numbers, they're like, you're fine, you're just in perimenopause. And it was so frustrating. I'm like, I have never been challenged with weight. I felt completely out of control. I was 20 pounds heavier. I would starve myself, do all of the things, not knowing that all of the things that I was doing was actually just making it worse, you know? And I think that's so frustrating. Talk to me about what you're doing to change that, because that is like, I think that's the standard answer when you go to your doctor and you're like, I feel like I'm in menopause. What the hell's going on? And they're like, it's normal. You'll get through it.
It's normal. This is what you like. Welcome to your 40s.
Awful. And I remember they did the same thing. They said the same thing. And I was like, I'm not depressed. I'm just like, I'm heavier. I'm inflamed. I'm like, this is not okay. So,
Large percentage of them, this happened with me, where they're like, what you truly need is just to go out with your girlfriends and get a glass of wine and relax, which makes you feel like you're crazy. And then the other alternative that was given to me were antidepressants, which, you know, I have nothing against antidepressants, but that wasn't my issue. When the root cause of it is hormone fluctuations, to slap on
okay.
antidepressants is wrong. Let me tell you about Soul Women. So, Soul Women is a grassroots level movement to really educate and empower women in midlife. And so, we do a ton of speaking, stage talks. We do a lot of events that we host in Austin. We're located in Austin, Texas. We do small gatherings, really small curated gatherings of women coming together where they truly feel like they can openly talk about stuff that's going on without any judgment. We host retreats. We do 1-day retreats. We do 3-day retreats. And all of this is to just educate, empower, and allow women the tools that they need to really thrive in this second half. And then outside of that, there are a select few patients that we take on and we work with on a year-long basis through a membership program. And the three pillars that we have that really support women, these are the three ingredients that really will change your life in this phase is one, functional medicine, where go find yourself a functional medicine doctor, get your blood work done, your stool testing, understand your body. Every human body is different. There is no one size fits all pill. Please don't go to ChatGPT and upload your lab results and hope you're going to get a program or a protocol that fits you. It's not going to happen. So, step one, functional medicine. Step two is really the mindset work that comes and needed so desperately during this phase. Learning how to rebalance your nervous system. There's no supplement out there that helps with nervous system rebalancing. It's a skill that you have to learn. And once you learn it, you can regulate yourself in any situation. You know, stress is not, you're never going to live in a place where there's no stress. You're always going to have stress, but how do you survive and thrive in those times? So nervous system regulation is key. And then the third pillar is sisterhood and community, surrounding yourselves with women who really get you and are in this same phase, who have the same growth mindset, who want to learn and get better. Surround yourselves with those women because women need other women.
Community is everything. I think, especially more so today than ever. Like the world is crazy right now. I had a moment this week on a plane that I just was like looking around me and I'm like, no one on this plane looks happy. They are not speaking. There's like couples all around me that are traveling together. That one was watching one show, one was on their phone. Like, I'm like, wow, the world is so disconnected. So, how does one know? Like, what were the symptoms that you experienced when you were like, I'm in perimenopause? Like, how does one know besides finding a functional medicine doctor? What are some of the signs and like, what are some of the things we should be looking for?
The typical symptoms are oftentimes it's weight gain around your belly. You know, you're eating just as healthy, you're working out just as hard, but now you've got this stubborn weight gain around your belly. You're not able to sleep as soundly as you were. You have hot flashes sometimes, mood swings, you're up and down, you're like happy one moment, you're, yelling at your kids the next moment. Just the tolerance level that you've had all along drops. Other symptoms are around brain fog, a lot of brain fog. This happened with me where I was such a badass and could do all of these different things. And I was so proud of myself. That was my identity. Then all of a sudden, it was like, why am I dropping these balls? Why can't I remember these things? Oh my God, I forgot to pick my kid up from her activity. And then the beat up that happens and the shame that goes with it. It's like, what a bad mom I am. What a bad business person I am. I forgot these things and all the negative talk that comes along with it.
With over 26 years of real life experiences as a thriving entrepreneur, I'm here to bring you sophistication, insight, and expertise into every aspect of your life. This is Another Million Miles, where luxury meets authenticity and every step brings you closer to the life that you deserve.
You just feel different. There's a certain shift that happens where you just don't feel as uplifting and motivated as you did in the past. And I will say that perimenopause starts a good 10 years prior to you hitting menopause. So menopause is when you haven't had a period for an entire year. Then you're in menopause. So 10 years prior to that is when your perimenopause symptoms start. You really don't want to wait for perimenopause symptoms to start acting upon it. So we have women as early as 30, 35. When life is really good, do your blood work then, because then you get a baseline of what things look like when you're healthy. And there are so many steps you can take that set you up to really thrive as you enter perimenopause and menopause. The way you should be eating, the exercises you should be doing, all of these things are different when you're in your 20s and your 30s and you're entering your 40s. It's different. You can go hard with cardio in your 20s and your 30s. That's great. In your 40s, your adrenals are going to tank with major cardio. You need to be lifting weights, heavy weights. So it's just different. It's personalized. If you wish, I started in my 30s with this blueprint that, I now have that I provide my patients with. I wish I had that when I was in my 30s.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. And I think that that was like one of the things that I look back now and I recognize. I was like, like doing what I had done my whole life. And that I remember finally finding a functional medicine doctor. And when they tested my numbers, they were like, "How are you even sleeping? Like, you have zero testosterone. Your cortisol levels are insane." It was spiking my cortisol, like, it's putting my body in so much stress because I was like an hour and a half on the treadmill and like
Yeah.
just cardio, cardio, cardio. And the whole thing just was like a vicious cycle of not resolving
Yeah.
anything. And it's great, like, that you're putting out education for this because I think that, so many people just they don't even stop to think. And I think the advice about getting your blood work done when you're 30 and you're, in your prime and you're healthy and you're stable, that's wonderful. I wish I would have done that.
Yeah, me too. I mean, when you look at blood work and and you look for the ranges for you to have a
Yeah.
disease, that blood work,
Yeah.
those ranges are really gotten from people who are sick, right? When you go through and you get blood work done, the normal ranges are really for people who are now in disease. We want to catch it before you get there. So don't wait until you're in that disease phase. Do things proactively that prevent you from getting there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, agreed so much. So let me ask you, going back to how did you think of besides like you wanted to create community, but like what really triggered you to create this group of, safety, really? I call it like community, but like it's also like a safety environment for women to really like help each other, support each other. It's a support system. So like what was the trigger that you were like, okay, I've done this, I'm super successful, I've been in C-suite. What made you pivot into, besides going through it yourself, you have to have a passion and a purpose when you're going to take on and scale community like this. So what was that pivotal moment?
Often the journey a person walks through, the turmoil that they have in their lives and the lessons that they learned, that becomes the pain becomes their purpose. And that was the case for me, was me living in this solitude, not knowing what's wrong with me, not having anybody to talk to, feeling like I'm totally crazy. And then I remember sitting on I saw my PCP and he was like, go get, antidepressants, go get a drink with your friend. And I'd come back home and just sit on my couch and cry at night, not knowing what was going on with me. And then I'd wake up in the morning and shove all of my emotions under the rug and get my kids to school and get back at work and get back on the hamster wheel like nothing mattered. It was such an empty life, even though I had all of the money in the bank account and I had my fancy house and my shoes, and it was just an empty life. The turning point was this one night when
Oh
my
my God.
then 8-year-old came to me and sat down with me, my daughter, and said, Mom, you look really, really sad. You've looked sad for so many days. What is going on? Can I help you? And that was
At
the moment
8.
where I was like, this is my child that I am supposed to be mothering is standing here trying to take care of me. I mean, what am I doing? At 8, and what was I thinking? Was somebody going to come save me? I had to get out of this rut. So that was my moment where I was like, okay, I need to take charge. I need to get up and figure this out. And I did a ton of research, and I was at a park one day and I broke down to this total stranger, took my kids to the playground, and this woman with her kids. And I had a total meltdown in front of her and shared with her how upset I was. And she turned around and looked at me, Danielle, and said, oh my God, me too. I feel the same way. And then I went and stood at Whole Foods in line shopping. And I happened to talk to a woman there. And she looked at me and said, me too. And at that moment, I realized this is not a me problem. We're just not talking about it. A lot of us are going through it. We're just not talking about it. And that's why Soul Women community is such a big component of Soul Women, is because we need each other. We need to talk
Yeah.
openly. We need to support each other so we can rise together. We're all going to go through perimenopause and menopause.
Yeah.
100% of women are going to go through it. So why not enable yourself
Yeah.
with the tools that you need to enter this phase and thrive?
100%.
Because as you know, now we are on the other end, living life to the fullest, feeling so much healthier than we've ever been before. Why not share that? I want every woman to know. Every woman gets to live life like this.
It's so interesting too because like you and I are talking about like celebrating, right? Like we're celebrating our 40s, we're celebrating the next chapter of our lives, and like I cannot tell you how I felt, but like how most people like they don't have people that they can connect with that are talking about this to say, like, you can start over. If you want to change your career, you can change your career. If you are in an unfulfilled relationship, you can find love again. I just see women just settling, like they're unhappy in their jobs, or they're unhappy with their partners, or they're just unhappy. They're not like, they've given up on like their balance and their fitness, or like what makes them feel good. They're always like putting everyone first. It's a woman's trait, is like, take care of everything, don't ask for help, all of this stuff, right? And I feel like once I finally got like connected to my hormones and really like get help, is when my whole like mindset changed. And now I'm like, wow, you almost have like a rebirth in your 40s.
Yeah, we do a lot of mindset work with our women because it's true. We've been raised to take care of everyone else and put ourselves on the back burner. And you can do that in your 20s and your 30s, but it doesn't. Your body just keeps a score, and you need to focus on it in your 40s. You have to put your mask on before you take care of anybody else. And that's a real shift for women to do, to actually, they almost feel like it's selfish for them to set time aside for themselves. It's like, oh my God, no. When that's exactly what you need to do. When your cup is full, the way you show up for your kids and your partner and your companies is so much better. Such an elevated experience from you being depleted and just unhealthy.
Your background, and you've like obviously been in, you've built companies and been in C-suite and like had very, very like high elevated jobs. How do you keep yourself from slipping back into some of those habits that women that have that much entrepreneurship and leadership and leveled up in their career, like I'm around a lot of them, it's almost like they're in denial of, like, they don't want to admit it because they don't feel like that they have anyone to talk or support them. But like, how do you keep yourself balanced? How do you keep yourself coming from such a high level functioning crazy life mindset where like you had to be everything for everybody and do everything, to where you are now?
Prioritizing and recognizing what is important in your day, in your life, how many hours you have for it, and then making that a priority. A lot of things that we can hand off to other people. The C suite, high level executives also have an issue around control. We want to be in control of everything, we want to be doing everything. When we get to live a life of ease and flow, and be just as motivated and passionate. And we get to delegate. We get to trust the people outside of us and allow them to take on some things, knowing that they may fail, but that's the support system you need to build around you, because at some point in time, you were given that chance. I was given that chance by somebody higher up. And I got up to where I am because of that chance. So we get to pay that forward. So that's one. The second thing is, it takes about 6 months. I work with a lot of these women closely. It takes 6 months of being diligent with your time, setting aside maybe an hour in the morning for yourself. It is a non negotiable, just like the financial
It
planning
is.
meeting that you have on your calendar every month. That is a non negotiable. This is even more important than that. And whatever your practices are, whether it's, meditation or journaling or intention setting, going outside for a walk, put on a weighted vest, go outside in the sunlight, whatever that is for you, take that time aside and do it every single day for 90 days. And you start feeling so much better. Once you start feeling
No,
that feeling and you know
no,
how
no.
regulated you are, you won't give it up. You will not give that up. But you have to know what that feels like first. It's almost like this dopamine hit. It's like, oh my God, I can feel this
Yeah.
good and do a bang up job at this company that I'm running. Why would I not? I have all this space for myself and do all of these things. Why would you not? You show up so much more present for yourself, for your family, for your company. It is a deal. It completely changes,
Yeah.
but it's a habit. Like any habit, you've got to build it.
That I think it's like funny. You use exactly some example that I would probably use is like, you show up because you have to, because we tell ourselves that we have to like do financial advisory meetings and all this other stuff, right? But like, if we don't have our health and we don't have our mindset, we're not going to have the wealth. And if we do have the wealth, it's not going to matter, because what does it matter if you can't live in a healthy body and in a healthy mindset? And You know,
Yes.
the non-negotiable for me is like yoga. And if I can't do it every day because I'm traveling, I still know that like I don't care how exhausted I am, how anything I get back into town and I am at my yoga studio and it is a non-negotiable. And being somebody that like works all over the world with teams and like I just say I can take calls after 11 pretty much Monday through Friday. But that time in the morning is my time and it has to be something that cannot be rescheduled for me to like miss my morning time and then I have to build it into the afternoon. You know, it's for years I felt guilty. How do I go to yoga at noon while my all my other brands are working? I do it because if I don't do it, I'm a miserable person. And to your point, I don't perform. Welcome to Another Million Miles, your personal lifestyle concierge with credibility. Here we go beyond surface level advice. We dive deep into transformational insights from experts who set the standard in their fields.
If you can't do it at this phase of your life, in your 40s, then what
Yeah.
is the point of working so hard in your 20s and 30s and building all of this? You get to enjoy this now. This is when your
Exactly.
body needs it and you get to take care of it. Because otherwise, what are you building an empire for if you don't get to enjoy some of it? I think we forget to have fun along the way too. I feel like we're all so busy. We throw fun out of the window. It's like go out for a dance, go do something fun. I don't know, jump on the trampoline, get outside and do something.
It's so true. I mean, it sounds so simple, but so many people don't do it. It's amazing to me. You know, I mean, I know from your bio, like you left a very long marriage as well. So you changed your entire executive like situation, your C-suite, you know, then you left a marriage. I mean, what is your advice? Like, how did you take on that much change, like such a short amount of time? How did that feel?
Well, I blew my life apart and it was nerve-wracking and it still is. There are moments, I'm several years into it and there are still moments where I wake up, I'm like, what am I doing? But I'm so happy. I have recreated my life by design and I am so happy where I am today. What did it take? Well, it just took me recognizing that I wasn't living a life of purpose or passion. I went to a retreat actually in Costa Rica 4 years ago, and that was the first time I got to step away and really reflect on my life. Like, what is working, what isn't? And one of the questions that we did around here, one of the questions was, what is your purpose to life? Why were you put on this planet? What legacy are you leaving behind? And I sat there thinking, what am I doing? I mean, yes, I've built all these companies. I'm great. I have a fancy title. Am I really living my life's purpose? Oh, my ex-husband is an incredible human being. He is my soulmate and I love him so dearly. But we met when we were 22. We were children at that point in time, and we grew up together and we recognized that we just wanted different things. And so we have such a good relationship
That
now.
is,
We co-parent so well and we're both happy
yeah.
walking our own separate paths. But somebody needed to make that call. And that was me. I needed to say, we've lived unhappily, we love each other, but we're also unhappy in this marriage. And it's been so long. And I want you to live and thrive in life.
Yeah.
And I want the same thing for myself. I want our kids to look at a marriage and say, this is what a happy marriage looks like. And so, yeah, I decided to split ways and we're both so happy now doing our own thing.
That is amazing. And that's like so much strength. I can relate in a different, like a very, very similar situation. That takes so much courage. But again, I think that also supports the soul women community. And, you know, to hear stories like that, to hear you tell that story to somebody that might from the outside look like she has it all and has everything together. But, you know, the reality of the situation is like she has like no passion with her husband anymore and you know it's just basically like smoke and mirrors and you know life is too short and so sharing those kind of stories I think really help. I can't imagine how many women's lives you've changed.
Yeah. Can we talk about sex? Because this is something not everybody wants to talk. It doesn't come to me easy to talk about sex because I was raised, very conservatively in India, but it's also something I talk about intentionally now because the more you talk about it, the more comfortable you get talking about it. And the number of women who've come to me behind closed doors or through DMs on Instagram to say thank you for sharing that. But they will not comment publicly, because they don't want to be seen or associated with having any libido issues. And so perimenopause, your libido can tank in perimenopause. It has nothing to do with you. It doesn't have to do with your partner or the attraction. It's your hormones. A little bit of testosterone can do wonders. So go talk to your doctor and see if that's an option. Also, I think we're so disconnected from our bodies as women because we've been so busy creating these empires and taking care of our kids and everybody else but ourselves. We don't even know what we enjoy anymore. And let me tell you that what we enjoyed in our 20s and our 30s is very different from what we enjoy in our 40s. Pleasure feels very different in our 40s. And so, again, some of this is just embodiment, understanding what reconnecting with your body you can do. There are different practices that allow you to reconnect, understanding what pleasure looks like for you in this phase, and then being able to communicate that to your partner and being able to talk to them about it is so important. I think a lot of men also go through hormonal changes, but they go to a testosterone clinic and they're good to go in about, 10 days, a few days on testosterone, they're good to go. They're like 17 years old. Women, it takes a little bit longer. It takes us a good 2 to 3 months to get our hormones balanced and for us to get back into the swing.
I love that you just said, let's talk about sex, because first of all, no one's gotten on my podcast and said that. So more power to you. Secondly, I think you make such a good point. Think about like the positioning, right? Of like men in society, like talk about sex like proud and like got the hot girlfriend, or they like, they got laid last night, or this, that, and the other. With women, it's always kind of been like a shameful thing. It's so interesting to me the amount of friends that I've had in my lifetime that I'm like, so how's your sex? And they're like, they like shut down, clam up. They don't want to talk about it. And I'm like, it's a natural thing. It should be. It shouldn't be a shameful thing. It shouldn't be something that like, women don't talk about, but very few women are like, so how was it? Like, tell me, and like want to share any information. I find it so fascinating. And I think that I can say, I got on testosterone and that was the game changer for me, for my libido and for my sleep. Like total change, complete night and day. So, for anyone out there listening, there's so much like, you just have to do it correctly. You have to go to a doctor that does it correctly. But like hormone replacement or therapy for me was a life-changing experience.
Yep, agreed. For a lot of our women too, it's incredible what a little bit of testosterone. So yeah, bioidentical hormones can work magic. There's so many of us are living longer now. We really want to live healthier too. There's no point in living well into your 90s, and if you're living an unhealthy life, or you can't move as well, or you're not having any sex, who wants to live that kind of a life? It's such an important part of vibrant health, and there are ways you
I
can
love
live
that.
fully.
If there is one thing that you could have told yourself when you were 20 today, what would it be?
I wish somebody gave me the blueprint to living really well and healthy and thriving in my years. I wish I got that blueprint in my 20s and my 30s. And so I'm really, really passionate about educating women and giving that to them. And again, it's not a one size fits all. Here's a pamphlet, go out and do your thing. It's very customized to them. But there are ways in which you can start preparing in your early 30s that really allow you to thrive in your 40s and beyond. So I would say do the work, know that you are a badass. Don't delegate your power to anybody outside of you. This is again, I can speak from wisdom because I learned the hard way, but I gave my power away to everybody else, what everybody thought of me. I don't want to disappoint people. I want to make my parents proud. I still want to make my parents proud, but they are happy if I am happy. Everybody around me is going to be happy for me. Truly, if they cared about me, truly cared about me, they will be happy when I stand in my power. So you go out, find what your purpose is, and when you walk that path, the universe has your back. Everything else just comes. The money will come, the fame will come, whatever else you want, all of it comes.
Thank you so much for spending your time and your knowledge what I loved about this conversation, honestly, is how honest you are and authentic, and how it's so necessary for so many women to hear this. So many women are navigating these midlife changes and they're still trying to show up and perform and care for everybody else and hold everything together. And yet so often we're left without answers, or we don't know why we're, crying on our couch at night. And, it's a powerful reminder that what women experience and go through perimenopause and midlife is like, it's real, it's valid, and it's deserving of a deeper care and support. Your work with Soul Women and helping create this community, this conversation, this voice that's rooted in knowledge, community healing, and remembering that women aren't broken. And, sometimes we just need courage to question that what we've been told, question how we're supposed to be, or the support to actually listen to our bodies, and a sisterhood, like you said, to know that we're not alone. So I just appreciate your time so very much. If you guys are out there listening to this episode and it speaks to you, please make sure to follow Nadita. Where do they find you? It's soulwomen.com, correct?
Yes, that's the website is soulwomen.com, SOLWOMEN.com. We're on Instagram. You can go to the Soul Women. So it's THESOLWOMEN. I'm here for any questions. We do complimentary consultations. Really, we want to educate and
So
empower.
you just heard that. There is no reason to not get your curiosity to Miss Nandita to have a free consultation. And I think that that is so powerful and such a blessing for the community, honestly. So if this episode spoke to you, be sure to share it with a woman in your life who needs to hear this message. Follow, like, soulwomen.com. And as always, thank you for joining me on another Million Miles. So until next time, keep choosing what aligns with you. Keep trusting who you're becoming. And remember that your best life isn't found, it's actually created. So thank you again. Thank you for joining me on another Million Miles, where luxury and authenticity meet to enrich your journey. This is another Million Miles, and I'll see you on the path ahead in our next episode. Until then, keep embracing the journey, savoring each moment. Keep dreaming big and moving closer to the life you envisioned and traveling afar.